Hey everybody, welcome back to another Fans in Motion Hold on, start over. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Fans in Motion podcast, the only podcast that you didn't know you needed. I'm looking at my two friends, and I want to say to them so bad, I'm out all night, sleep all day. No one ever told me there's a better way. Oh, yeah, you heard it from me. That's Monkey. Say hello, Josh.
Monkey, my favorite song about a mammal or marsupial on the new Night Ranger record. Yeah, great one.
It's fun, man. I still get a kick out of that song.
Yeah, and Jack talked about that on the live, that Talk Shop Live, where it's basically based off that, the little monkey that you wind up or whatever, and it would dance and stuff. That's what he's talking about. I actually thought it was a trip to the zoo, something like that.
It was more drug related, if I had to guess. More cocaine,
Drugs?
Less songwriting.
Yes.
You know, Andy, I was taking bets in my brain that you were going to start out with, you shake it up all night. Your friends, they all agree because, it's Sunday morning right now.
I should have, yeah.
I really thought that's what you were going to do.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, I'm bad about that. I was sitting here doing my show notes, and the album was just sitting in front of me, and I had it playing on my phone and just listening. I was like, yeah, fucking Monkey. I'm doing Monkey today. Yeah. So here we are.
Sunday morning. And the next time we record on Sunday morning, don't forget to do it.
Yeah, I'll do something like, Interstate Love Affair or something. So anyway, this episode we're doing, this is it's gonna be interesting. It's so the concept of it is it's 10 songs to get someone into Night Ranger, forgoing the hits. The idea is someone knows the songs but they're not a Night Ranger fan. You want them to become a bigger Night Ranger fan, so you come up with 10 songs that you think, deep cut maybe, that are worth listening to and might pull somebody in, and also some possible what-if scenarios.
Kind of like I did with you at Saigon Kick.
Absolutely. Or I do with Butch Walker. I give people although with Butch Walker I give him 36 songs because I can't pick 10.
Yeah.
He does.
That episode would be, what 2 songs would you not give them?
What songs did you leave out? When I was doing my list of top 10 here, or 10, I in top 10, just 10, I was like, God, it's hard to really narrow down 10 because there's so many songs as deep fans that we are. I think it's hard to just pick. Here's 10 songs I think you would like, because I was like, no, you probably like this song too. You probably like this song too. So I started just scratching off. I was like, all right, 10 songs that I think are awesome and people should be listening to them more. So
honestly, it was pretty easy to me, like in the real world, because if you're not a diehard Night Ranger fan, I'm not even a friend with the motherfucker.
You're not. Josh isn't even talking to you.
It's like, what? Come on, man.
You like Night Ranger? Oh yeah, you're dead to me. How about that?
Piss off. What, Sister Christian? As I pound on their head. So, yeah.
Say Sister Christian again. Say Sister Christian.
Say it one more time. I dare you. I don't.
That's a good burger.
Does he look like a one-hit wonder? What? I said.
We should do an entire Pulp Fiction scenario, but use Night Ranger replacements.
I didn't even know what you were talking about.
What if Night Ranger was the theme of Pulp Fiction?
Hey,
never seen Pulp Fiction.
Hey, you want some?
You should.
You want some Big Life? Nah, man, I don't dig that record. What do you mean don't dig that record?
What do they call Big Life in France?
Man in Motion, good. Rock, Midnight Madness, good. Which album's yours? The one that says Midnight fucking Madness. Yeah, we could have.
Does it say Night Ranger parking on my front lawn?
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting way out on this one. So
yeah,
I'm just sitting there watching you two, and I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, you should watch it sometime when you get a chance. It's a pretty good flick.
Quentin Tarantino, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll hate it then.
Oh, that's a shame. He's pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah, horrible. Only one of the best. Only one of the best movies are out there is Quentin Tarantino.
Him and Tim Burton, I just don't get.
Well,
all right. Yeah. Maybe we should. Can you just chop Brent? Mute Mike. Mute his mic.
I just don't.
Yeah, but I'm sure Flash Gordon is movie golden cinema for him. All right, what we got next?
Well, so we're coming hot off the heels of the last week's episode. The episode was with Mike Brunn, the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. Fun little interview. I don't know if we had any feedback, anybody contact us about that, but Mike was an interesting guy to talk to. Not necessarily
big Night Ranger fan.
Hot Night Ranger talk, but it was just fun to get another guy's perspective.
It was fun to get his listing from the record and see how it was incorrect compared to mine and your guys' list as well. And Mike's a good guy, has a good podcast, has some good Night Ranger stories, and there's other podcasters out there that have some Night Ranger ties, or not even podcasters, but journalists. Maybe we'll eventually down the road get them on and have them share some Night Ranger stories. So if you get a chance, go back, watch last week's episode with Mike Brunn from the Rock Experience podcast.
Yeah. He was a fun conversation.
Yeah.
That was literally just four guys sitting down having a good time together. That's what I liked about that.
Yeah, and it's just something you when you're trying to keep a show going, sometimes you just want to have a conversation. And Mike was a good guy to talk to us, and thankful he came on and spent some time with us. And it's always fun to find another Night Ranger fan who's passionate about it, as our little group is. So,
well, what was so fun about Mike is I've spoken to him chat-wise and, back and forth here and there, just like I do with people on the page. Spoke to him on the phone about getting this set up, and I feel like I've known the guy forever. I mean,
you could just keep talking.
I've
talked to him a couple
of times. We had so much in common.
We keep going. I was like, we were talking about Night Ranger. Let's get back to that.
Yeah. So that was another cool aspect of that episode, because he's just you wouldn't have known we didn't know each other.
Yeah. Just like how we don't know Josh.
Yeah. No one does.
But we always know what he's going to say. Wrong.
Andy Hoodles.
Well,
thanks to Mike for coming on. That was fun.
If you guys weren't fucking wrong, I wouldn't say wrong. It's a pretty simple mathematical equation.
Wrong. What about Night Ranger news? Anything going on we need to talk about? I know something happened.
News. I think
last night.
I think they put a civil protection order out against Brent. Can't be within 500 feet. So now it's not only schools, but it's Night Ranger concerts. But
why do you insert my name over your personal life?
Because he's trying to hide himself. He's in witness protection.
That's why he's in Lancaster. I say Lancaster, but he would say, hold on.
Lancaster.
Yeah, that's how he would say it. That's why he's there. Nobody would suspect him there.
Why did you save him there, Andy? I wanted to see those wheels turn.
They were
I
knew where it was going to go.
So last night they played the Westgate Casino and Resort, which is basically the old Las Vegas Hilton, which is also the old International Hotel where Elvis played throughout the 70s. I really should have went to that show, and I did not because I'm a big 70s Elvis fan. But yeah, if you saw the set list, I saw Dwayne Vickers. What's your name for him there, Brent? Night Ranger. He was up in the front row, so he's got some great picks and had some great video. They opened with Somehow, Some Way, and then they played two new tracks off of the new record, Breakout and Bring It All Home to Me.
Yeah.
What's funny is, they play basically three new songs, and they didn't play, I think Eddie's Coming Out Tonight, and then there's people bitching about not playing Eddie.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you get three basically new songs, and they, because if you're going to play new songs, you got to cut them off, cut something off.
Something's got to cut, yeah.
It's like, yes, it may not be the song you want cut, but, instead of, it's like people will just focus on the negative. Yeah. It's like, celebrate the fact you got three new songs, okay.
That they're playing new songs, true. I mean, they're not the three songs I would have chosen, but I appreciate the new songs.
Well, it's just like bitch and moan, and like people will just, I don't know, man. Just stop bitching and moaning and just be happy. I mean, really the only reason why you should have a reason to bitch and moan is if you're doing a podcast with Brent. It's like 2 hours forced of spending time with it.
I can go right back to fucking bed. I could. I got up for this shit.
Yeah, what time?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? What time is it?
Yeah,
we could even go off your hour behind time, Andy. It would still.
In my time, it's 11:30.
It's gonna be rough when I go to Nashville. My wife's like, "You were not sleeping all day." Blah blah blah. We're going Pancake Pantry. Oh, by the way, we are right down the street from you, Andy, in Brentwood.
Where you at?
I'm at a hotel.
I mean, all right.
I'll send you the things.
Why are you staying at Andy's? I already talked to his wife. I'm staying.
That's why.
Too many people in this house.
Oh hell no. So there's some Night Ranger news. They played Vegas. It wasn't. They think they scheduled that in July, so there wasn't a lot of time between scheduling it and them playing it. I think it's kind of a Vegas date to where, because they were supposed to play the Orleans in November. Well, I mean, it was like November last year, then it got pushed to April, then it got pushed to November this year, and it eventually got just, I think, straight up canceled. So, but I think there's another new show went on sale this week. Hot Springs, Arizona, at the Oaklawn Casino. Not Arizona, Arkansas. So, it's September 10th. So 2 days after that Cleveland show, if you guys want to hit the road and hit Arkansas, a little bit of Kansas. They are playing a casino there. So tickets just went on sale for that last week. So there is that show as well. I guess the charts and stuff, it's hard to get into the Billboard charts because you got to be a paid member, and it's not cheap to be a paid member.
No, I know. I love
$100 and something, I believe.
Oh, it was more than that. It was like $500, and I think $300 if you got the cheaper one.
Even back in the 80s, just to have that sent to the record stores every week, it was like $1,000 if I remember right. Per store.
So the best that I can do, and here's what I did was if you log on before the screen comes up and says you've got to pay, you get about a second. So I would hurry up and scroll real fast, and eventually, like 15 times later, I saw the ATPPO record, cover and
just screenshotted it.
So for the week of August 16th or whatever, I saw that they were at 40. And there's other things out there showing that it went as high as 22. So maybe the previous week it was 22. If someone's got a Billboard connection, let us know. And it's Billboard albums. I mean, you can get on the one that's like available, and Night Ranger's not on there. But if you get to the pay one and go in, so I don't know what they're measuring or not, and you can't really get on the rock one without paying. So I don't know. I'm not spending that much time with it. But if you go to Night Ranger, if you just type in Night Ranger Billboard and it comes up to like their page, it shows the peak position of each record. It does show ATBPO peaking at 22, which would be, I think, their highest peaked album since Seven Wishes. I can't think what Big Life was. I want to say late in the 20s or 40s. But Man in Motion peaked at 81. I don't even think Neverland, Seven, Mojo, any of those charted.
Yeah.
Hole in the Sun did not chart. Somewhere in California was like in the 140s. High Road was like in the 110s or something. And then Don't Let Up made it into the 60s. And then, either if it's 22 or 40, that's still their highest ranked album. Now, we're not talking about units sold. That's a little bit, different when you compare units sold to because I'm sure Man in Motion sold more of the first week than probably any of these records sold their first week. But it's a different time and a different era. So there you go. So, but I also did see there's a thing called Metal Insider. I want to assume it's probably Europe, just the way that it's laid out. But Metal by the Numbers, top 10, the rock metal chart, and this is based off of counting only physical and digital album sales in the United States under 18 months old. So what's crazy is if you go to these charts, it's like all these bands were still selling. Tom Petty and
Yeah.
and that's where most of your charts made up are all these legacy acts. So this takes out all that. And if you look, I guess it'd be for this last week.
Hells to the yes.
Night Ranger, 3,000 copies, was the most sold. Greta Van Fleet was second, 2.6. Mammoth WVH, 1.7. Paul McCartney, 1.1. The DGs, not even 1,000. So,
but see those. Well, no. What's weird about that is that saying what week is that? Is that this past week?
I would say probably the first week it was out. I don't know. This is just a screenshot from Instagram.
So based on that, they only sold 3,000 copies worldwide. Or
that'd be
is that what it
was? That's in the United
America.
States. It could be the second week. Let me see if it tells. Let me look.
It feels like they had to have sold more than 3,000 copies, doesn't it? I mean, am I just totally out of it, Brent? Am I missing something?
That's
here?
why I hardly commented on the sales this week because one, I couldn't back it up, and two, I was pissed because I thought we could do better.
I mean, I was thinking maybe they would sell 10,000 copies. 3,000 just seems so low to me.
Here's the thing.
Possible. I don't understand sales.
Sonic Boom. I forget what website used to. Maybe it was like Metal Sludge or something. But like Sonic Boom, or not even Sonic Boom. Maybe it was what was the album after that? Monster. So you got to think. Even back then, CDs sold a little bit more. Digital copies sold a little bit more. And I think after 2 weeks, Monster had only sold 22,000 copies. And that's Kiss. And that's even 9 years ago when that stuff sold.
Yeah.
I just remember also when these bands would release stuff like LA Guns and bands that we, kind of from that era, when they would release a record, sometimes it wouldn't even sell 1,000 copies in the week it was released.
My head, I can't. Again, I can't wrap my head around that.
I guarantee
people would buy this stuff.
Well, even like the Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons solo stuff, I know never reached 5 digits in their first few weeks. So I would guarantee you that those previous Night Ranger albums probably never sold more than 3,000 or 4,000 copies. And you got to even think with the exclusives. Think about all the exclusive vinyl, the blue, and you think of the yellow, and what's the other one? The crystal, right? Yeah. That's only 1,100 copies if they sold out of everything.
Which they didn't even do that, right?
So I mean, I think we're 3,000 copies is still a respectable number, and we don't know. That could be the second week.
No, but is that counting digital downloads too?
It said digital and physical copies sold in the U.S.
I don't understand people, man.
People
this is almost why you understand why bands stop putting out music.
Yeah.
What's the cost involved for them to make the album, and you're going to net 3,000 copies?
That's why a lot of bands don't.
That's what's wrong with this country.
Well, here's the thing too. A lot of bands.
It's a world period.
Some of the bands will, if they're not really that good at touring, but they still have a fan base that will buy stuff. I'm not talking like huge, but if you can make an album and make $1,500 each off of it, that's a paycheck. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah, no.
Plus, you got overseas, Japan. You got other audiences.
You're going to have something like that. But bands for like Kiss, where there's a big difference between, hey, I can go out and make $150,000 per me, Paul Stanley, a show, or I can make a record and get next to nothing. Why am I going to put all that time into a record?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
So
it doesn't. I don't know.
Your smaller bands, your smaller bands will do it because there's not much difference. I'm sure Night Ranger makes the equivalent of more playing live, but again, what are you doing? Number one in 2020 when there's nothing going on. There's still money in it a little bit, but also it's the creative juices they always talk about. They want to create and At this point, nothing's about the money to probably the main principal guys in the band. They could retire right now and live off of what income they got coming in, unless they've made some bad business decisions and stuff. But but at this point, you're doing it because you enjoy it.
All right.
What else?
News-wise, anything news?
Well, one more thing that was kind of out there is there's a pre-sale up for this record again. So this is Rockin' Japan Greatest Hits Live. So this was the original Rockin' Japan that came out in 97. And then Deadline, Cleopatra bought the rights to it. And everybody else, there's an 80% chance if you find a kind of a generic Night Ranger CD out there with a weird cover, this is the recording. So this came out in 2019. It's that live album minus most of the Neverland live tracks, just because there's not enough space on the record. And, it's just a blue vinyl.
Nice color.
So there is a pre-order for October. Are we all right? Do we need some coffee?
That's what I'm drinking. Sorry.
All right.
I had a really late night and too early of a morning for me.
So what is it new? Is it just a reissue of this? But it's a pre-order. It comes out in October. The only differences I can see just in the description, and there's not much because the photo looks about the same, but the photo don't have a picture of the record, is they describe this as a translucent blue, where the other one, if you read, is just blue. It does have a different copyright date, and there is a copyright date on the back of this of 2019. And it's got a different ASIN number, which is just an Amazon stock number. Appears nowhere on the record. It's just Amazon's system for tracking it. So it does have a completely different number, but I don't think that means much. It is on sale as a pre-order for Barnes & Noble as well. So there you go. Did I pre-order it? Yes, just for the fact that I only have one copy. I can always use another copy, put it in my kid's thing. It's just an excuse to get another one. But, at least I'll get it and see, and I can tell everybody if it's truly any different or not. So
but this goes back to the conversation we were just having. You're going to reissue. I mean, how many copies do you think you're really going to sell? If the band, as they puts new product out and only moves 3,000-4,000 copies, how many do they expect to sell of something that people already have? And Night Ranger, again, love them, but they're not Kiss, where the collectability world is much broader. I mean, I love it, but I'm just like, I don't get it.
Well, I mean,
and who's doing it?
Well, this is from Deadline Cleopatra Records. So let's say it's 250 copies. If you're a one-man shop and you do that and 3 other things, and you're going to make a total at the end $1,000 off of it, and you do 3 that month, that's $3,000. And then the next month, and you're just...
Well, there's a cost involved to make it.
Well, that's
what you got to consider
buy
too
rights,
is,
right?
Remember when we spoke with Tom Shannon? He has, for the Peter Criss, he has so many copies he has to print. And he's got a date to where it's going to expire. They might be low on the numbers, and they've still got enough they can print more, and they're going to take advantage of it while they can.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But he has a sell-by date, remember, with Universal, that he has to pitch them, basically. He can't sell them after a sell-by date, of course, you could put them on eBay and act like it's from your own private collection and do it that way.
Yeah, it just seems odd. I mean, I don't understand the business model, but hey, good on you. Good on people who get it.
Hopefully it's something that they sold out and they decided to repress. The only thing that kind of makes me not think that, and it's probably something more of, what Tom was talking about, like Brent said, was that it's the same color. Like, you think if you were going to print something up again, it would be red. You know what I mean? Like something totally different, not blue to translucent blue. And that blue is a translucent blue. I mean, you can get a thick, non-translucent color, and that unfortunately is not. So I don't know. I don't. But here's the thing: if it's brand new and you're doing a pre-order, I mean, why print it up in the same color unless there's something out there?
That's the thing. Like, it's just
So I don't know. So we'll get to that.
Well, when you get it, you can look at it.
Tell us.
And see if it has a different label on it when you open it. And 2, they might have just changed the numbers on it and just repressed.
Like I said, the only thing is, would it be a different copyright date? I don't know. Like I said, we'll see.
All right. Moving on.
All right, so Night Ranger collection.
Anything new? Anybody got something new? Anybody show something?
One more thing for fans of Motion News. Happy belated birthday to Gary Moon. Oh, not fans of Motion. To Night Ranger News.
Yep, Gary Moon celebrated a birthday. We got some other Night Ranger birthdays coming up in September. How many birthdays are in September? 3? Carrie Kelly, Kelly Kagan.
Mine.
We don't care. And is Fitz's in September? I don't know. Anyway,
I think he is.
Fitz had his back in
April.
Yeah.
April. Okay, so Kelly and Carrie.
And Andy.
So we got this in the mail.
Nice.
So if you took advantage of that deep discount,
everything
deal,
was out of stock.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
So after everything, I got this for $26. That's like
not bad.
Total everything. So it came with the little hype sticker there that you see most of them on. It's kind of a cool little Obi strip on the back. It's got the picture of the band. The Japanese bonus track is The Hardest Road, the acoustic version, and not much different than the stateside record. Just has the Japanese booklet that comes with it, with the Japanese lyrics. So there you go. There is that. You guys ready to take a big, deep dive into my Night Ranger nerdum?
Haven't we been doing that since a year ago?
But we're going even farther. So every now and then I will look at the 45s on eBay.
All right.
And I thought I was pretty sure I had this one, so I didn't look at it right away. And one day I did, and I'm like, yeah, it looks like the other ones. And I started looking a little closer. I'm like, just a little off. What is it? And I went ahead and got it because it wasn't that much, maybe $250 with $250 shipping or something. So these are both the same. So there's a few different promo versions of Sing Me Away. And this copy has, if you look right there, a mono side and a stereo side. All right. And there's different promos out there. Some just have stereo on both sides, whatever. So if you look at the mono side and you see the NB1217575, there's that number there. And then in the blue, you'll see promotional copy not for sale. Do you see that there?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. See the NB? It's all in the white.
Yeah.
And so the other copy is all in the white. And I have non-promo copies that look just like this, all in the white. Look at this one. Hold on, I gotta get to the mono side.
Riveting. There you go.
It's in the blue.
That there, folks, that's why you come to the Night Ranger podcast. You're not going to get this anywhere else.
Let's quiz Andy on this. Andy, why is there a mono side?
I have no idea.
And
I can't even think of a witty comeback.
When they send those out to radio, if AM radio wanted to play it, that's the side they would play.
There you go.
It even says AM next to it on the mono.
Nice.
And you won't probably see these much after 82.
Yeah.
So let me write this down. This is hot Night Ranger talk, this part here?
Yep.
In the morning.
Yep. So there it is. The text is just a little bit.
See right there, Andy. It says 7 a.m.
Yeah.
NB. Well, yeah. That's.
So there you go.
You two, I tell you what, you're
I know your
knowledge is frightening.
So there you go. Now, if you're collecting all the Sing Me Away 45s, you got another.
The other two people out there in the world.
Yeah. Well, like
that's what you watch.
If
you tune in for.
If it was more than $5, I wouldn't have cared. No. Well, I got it too, just because I was tired of looking at it on my screen and there. Is there anything else? I'm like, for $5, I'll deal with it later, and just look at it when it comes in. There's nothing else really.
Josh, as a Cub reporter, let me ask the burning question that's on everybody's minds: why the variance in the NB on the blue and the white?
Honestly, it's probably I don't know. It's just probably they're pressing these, and somewhere down the line something gets shifted. Because all the text and everything looks the same.
No backwards message to the world out there. If you got this copy, Paul McCartney is still dead.
Yes, but if you were in a band collecting Kiss, that would be a big deal. There would be people wanting, and there would be how many you got one or the other. Because it just isn't on one thing. If they print, 1,000 of those off, there could be 250 like that. Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. But it's just
famously with Kiss, the Straight Jacket Dynasty cover.
Yep, worth.
Every time I'm in a record store, Brent tells me check Dynasty. If I call him, he's like, check Dynasty, see which one they got.
Yep.
I almost had that over the summer.
Yeah.
Some guy was selling a lot on Facebook Marketplace. And he wanted $250 for his 10 Kiss albums, and I'm looking through it, and it's actually a spandex. They're not wearing straight jackets. He had it in there, and I emailed him. I said, I will give you $50 for that Dynasty right now, because he didn't know what he had.
Yeah.
His album, they were all beat to hell, but that one wasn't bad. And he said, this guy's been jerking me around for 2 weeks, saying he's the check's in the mail, the check's in the mail, and he said, I'm getting pretty tired. If I don't hear from him in 2 days, it's yours. So I waited 2 days, and I wrote back, do you want the $50 or not? He goes, I just got the guy's money order. And then 3 days later on one of the Kiss things, this guy posted, he goes, this is my third copy. I'm like, you motherfucker. I knew where he got it because I recognized the marks on it, I'm like, yeah, that's the guy.
There you go.
And you just made it harder for you to get your copy, because now, with the legion of listeners that we have,
they don't care.
They have all become aware. You're going to see Dave Nadelman going, hey, I was passing through Cincinnati. I went to 3 stores and I found 2 of them. So, but anyways, there you go. That's why you listen, is to get the minutia from Night Ranger 45s and color schemes and all that shit. So there you go.
Okay, I wanted to address the Newberry Comics autograph CD.
Uh-oh.
People have been posting about it, wondering about it, and I commented on it. When mine was late 4 or 5 days, I just sent a simple email out asking when they were going to ship. And I got an email back, blah, blah, blah. Well, I went ahead and did it again Friday, and I got the exact same email. So I just want to share it with you all. It says, thank you for the email and your order. We regret the delay. Unfortunately, there has been a delay in receiving the autographs for this release in our warehouse from the band. So I don't know how much more it's going to be delayed. It doesn't say. It just says it will be shipped and you will be sent a tracking number. But my tracking number came a day after my blue Newberry Comics vinyl arrived.
Yeah,
I never got a shipping thing on it, period.
I wouldn't give Newberry Comics too much shit. That's all I'm going to say. So.
Oh no, I'm not. That's why I'm just letting everybody know. I mean, they're just waiting to ship them. So.
All right. Well, good. There we go.
Okay.
Anybody else got anything new they want to talk about? Is that it?
Andy, movies.
Well, it's not Night Ranger related, but if you're a Kevin Smith fan, I went to the movies. Look at my shirt there. Josh, what do you think?
Look there, Nashville 2021.
Kevin Smith, a fictional restaurant in his world is called Movies. And I got the box behind me. I went to the restaurant and had I won't tell you the sandwich name that I had because it's inappropriate to say on our show.
Well, if you can order it, you can say it.
Yeah, but I don't want to say it. But I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, so I went down. It's a pop-up restaurant of his fictional restaurant. I bought a few items. Got the hat back there. The Leonardo Reapers. Stick it between the pipes, as it says on the back. I'm not necessarily a hockey fan, and I'm not really a hat fan, but I felt compelled to spend money, so there we go. So Kevin Smith, snooch to the booch.
Okay, we going to Night Ranger news or our Fans in Motion news?
Sure.
Fans in Motion, Brent.
Let's get this sucker rolling.
Come on, Les Nessman.
Mike Smith. This is from about a week and a half ago.
Look at that.
Saw a buffalo and had to get out and pose with his Night Ranger shirt as a kid. That cracks me up.
I love it because what's the correlation? None. But
no, just
felt compelled to put his Night Ranger shirt
What was the story with that?
He wanted to see a buffalo, I guess, and they found a buffalo, and he said, "Well, I had to pose with my favorite shirt."
I thought that wasn't that. Is he the one that worked for like Jack Blades' mother-in-law?
Yeah.
Isn't that the shirt he said Molly or something gave you?
Yeah, that gave him. Yeah.
All right.
Now is that the sleeveless shirt, Brent? Can you tell? I think that's the sleeveless one, isn't it?
I think that's the sleeveless one that has all the song titles on the back.
Yeah, like scattered
from Midnight Madness. Yeah.
They sold that at Spencer Gifts when we were kids, but it didn't have anything on the back, if I remember right. They also had that black satin vest like that too.
Yeah, that's when you want the guns out when you're wearing a Night Ranger shirt.
Yeah. So Mike Smith, thank you. Andy, what's that say?
Sean
Ragnier? Yeah. That's the button collection.
Him and I had some back and forth.
I want that Eric Carr button there.
He's a drummer.
I also want that Kiss Alive 3 button there. So, Sean, I'll give you my address. You let me know. I want the Night Ranger one, too.
Brent, I don't know if you caught. I jumped on his post there, and we had a little back and forth. He's a drummer. Eric was his favorite drummer, yeah.
If he would just drop the I and just move the N and the G, he'd have a cool last name.
Sean Ranger.
Where you gonna
put your buttons, Sean Ranger?
Did you say butt?
Buttons.
Buttons.
He's got buttons.
No, the way I edit it, it's gonna say butt.
Where you gonna put your butt, Sean Ranger?
And moving on.
Who's still
Lance Rushing posting his classic song hits. God, remember going to look that up because you didn't have an internet and you go to the store and you're like, really, that's what they say?
Yeah, to get the printed song lyrics. It was a magazine that printed song lyrics.
Yeah.
When you go to the store riding your dinosaur.
I had the Huffy Bandit. I mean, no, I didn't.
Yeah, that Huffy Bandit was terrible at jumping ramps. Terrible.
Josh, please, during this part of the show, insert a picture of the Huffy Bandit bicycle. If you're not familiar with it, it's a classic.
I get on his Bandit, and we're on the side of a kind of a highway, and I'm flying to go up this hill, and the bike doesn't go out; it goes up and leaves me. Remember that?
Yeah.
Because I had to let it go because I was going to come down with it.
It's good stuff right there.
I was about 10 feet in the air, and boom.
Awesome. Lance Rushing.
Yeah, thanks, Lance Rushing, for the Huffy Bandit talk from Andy. I appreciate that.
Huffy Bandit talk.
Hot Huffy Bandit. I had the monoshock bike, the orange Huffy with the monoshock in the middle.
This show's going off the rails.
That was awesome. So, Josh, look up the monoshock bike.
I ain't looking up shit.
Orange.
Even though I had a Huffy too, but my stepdad was cool and I didn't know it at first. He used to do he used to make model cars, and he took some of the decals from the car and put them just a real small one and put it on the front of my bike. So I had this. I'm 7 years old, 8 years old, riding my Huffy around, and I didn't notice it at first, but it had Budweiser little the Budweiser logo across the front underneath Huffy. And I'm starting to think to myself, like, back then, like, I didn't know Budweiser would, it wasn't until I was a little bit older, I'm like, you know what, he took the decals, right. and he also put, like the little chain guard, now I knew he did this later on, but he made it look like, you know, the quarter panel from the NASCAR cars with all the little decals.
Oh yeah,
I had those. I had like 7-Eleven and different, you know.
You were
stuff.
sponsored.
Yep. So, anyways, but yeah, there is your 1980s bike talk. There is. Did you ever watch BMX Bandits?
No,
Never heard of it.
Never heard of BMX Bandits. I think it was from Australia. It was an 80s movie. One of Nicole Kidman's first roles. There you go, BMX Bandits.
Oh, I'm writing that down.
So, all right, let's move on there, Turbo.
Is that it, Brent? You done with the?
I am done with the Fans of Motion news.
I had to write down Josh's movie recommendation because I love a bad movie.
Brought to you again by Johnny's Little Seaside Inn.
Here's a funny story with that. So, this is back in the 90s. My buddy liked that movie. I don't know if I'd ever seen it until I don't even know if I'd seen it, but he had told me about it. He's like, man, there's this really bad movie called BMX Bandits. And so this is in the 90s. This came out in the 80s.
You're like, I'm in.
Well, so I when I was younger, this is back in the 90s. Again, I lived in Columbus. So my buddies would come to the big city and visit me. Well, in the big city, we had an adult bookstore. So, it's like, teenagers, early 20s, everybody wanted to, let's go to an adult bookstore. So we went. And I just remember I was over there, and in the adult bookstore, the Lion's Den, they had a cheap VHS section of regular movies. So I'm going through there looking at the movies, and I saw BMX Bandits. And I remember I called my buddy. The next day, he couldn't text or anything. I was like, hey, I found BMX Bandits on VHS. Did you want it? He's like, yeah, you can't find it anywhere. I'm like, well, it's at the Lion's Den.
Yeah, you got to go into the...
He thought I was fucking with him. Sure enough, he went up and got it. And
that's fantastic.
So that's how he found his copy of BMX Bandits. So if you know of that movie or anything, leave us a comment somewhere so we can... Because I'm sure I'm not the only one, but...
Well, the other question, Josh, is what did you end up getting at Lion's Den?
The rubber fist.
That's what I had it in bingo. Josh got the rubber fist.
It's do you want the fist or do you want the hand? It's like which,
All right there, Mr. Fister.
But yeah,
it just got uncomfortable. Ooh.
So this is the part where I come up and start talking about people in Canada. Because I can.
But it's like you.
You guys call me out. I'm calling you guys out. Talking about fists and shit.
We need to move forward.
Take the video. I like this, but you have this with livestock. But
all right,
they're like, yeah, Brent Walter bought the last copy.
Let's do a.
That already happened with Andy when he and Kevin Hayes went to the Lions Den on Christmas Eve. Tell them the story, Andy.
I will do that later. Let's move on.
They kept calling each other Brent Walter while they were in the store. like it really matters. I've never even been in that place.
It was funny at the time.
But next time I'm trading with Josh, and we meet at the what's the outlet mall? It's right across the street, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean Jeffersonville exit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Just Joe.
Maybe semi turnaround there.
Does Joe still work here? I don't know.
Ask him. Don't drop my name. Drop Brent Walter's name.
I'm gonna go in there and put stickers of you guys' faces and put it on the door. Have you seen these men?
Put a Fans in Motion. I'm taking as later tonight. I'm heading to Denver and I'm taking Fans in Motion stickers with me and leaving them in the airport.
Put them in the bathroom.
Let's talk about 10 songs. If I walked up to somebody and said to them, hey, man, you like Night Ranger? They go, yeah, man, I love Sister. I think all songs should have been hits, but these are songs that are deep cuts for me that are kind of my go-tos, and I hope that you guys follow the same path here. It's just songs that always, to me, when I say a song has a Night Ranger feel, these are songs that when I hear it, that screams Night Ranger. And this list could have been an easy 30 songs, but I got it down to 10. Hopefully you guys are comfortable with your 10, and we can tell a quick little story if you want to about each song. And Josh, if you've got some other scenarios of what if possibilities you want to throw into, we can do that in between, or we can do it at the end.
Well, I did this as, person was a big Night Ranger fan in the 80s, probably had the first 3 records, maybe Big Life. And, goes sees them, but you tell them, hey, they just released a new record, blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, they released 4 in the last, so many years.
Yeah, they still playing?
Yeah, it's like, all right, dipshit. So that's how I took it, kind of like they like a lot of people in the 80s, they had the first 4 records.
Say Sister Christian again.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Yeah. What was the pack of smokes they smoke in the movie?
That I don't remember.
Red apples.
Red apples. See, I have Kevin Smith. His is called nails in his movies.
Yeah.
Like nails in your coffins.
Yeah.
Coffin.
Yep. All righty.
How you want to do this, Josh? You want me to start it with and these aren't in any order. They're just ranked 1 to 10 or listed as 1 to 10. They're not in a order. This one's more important. It's just
I gave minutes of thought to this.
All right. So I'll start for me. The first track on my CD that I'm handed is Stranger Number 1, Alien Life Form, Alf himself. Ha! I give him Eddie's Coming Out Tonight.
That's on the greatest hits.
Yeah, but it's not considered a hit.
Yeah, but
I mean, I can change it if you want. I can add something else.
I'd say it's a hit.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a hit, but it's on the greatest hits.
Well, that's my point. It's not a hit.
But most of the people, they own a record. It's the first 3 or it's the greatest hits. You fucked up your own topic.
It's not fucked up. It did it chart?
If they go to go see Night Ranger live a lot.
He's got you there.
Did it chart? Was it a hit?
It wasn't released. It's a hit.
Okay, end of conversation. It didn't chart. It's not a hit.
If it's on the greatest hits, it's a greatest hit.
It's not.
It's on the greatest hits.
A bunch of greatest hits albums. They have songs that never charted and people don't know.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I got to go with Andy on this one.
If it's on the greatest hits.
If it wasn't released, it's not a hit.
It's on the greatest hits.
They didn't have enough hits to put a greatest hits together.
You're speculating right now. All right? I can go get a physical copy of Greatest Hits and show you Eddie's Coming Out Tonight.
I agree with you. I don't deny that. It's not a hit song.
Yeah. Well, Sister Christian wasn't a top 5 song. Was it a hit?
Yeah, it was a hit.
No, it was a top 5. Wasn't that big a hit?
Well, when Casey Kasem did his top 40 countdown, those are the top 40 hits. Was Eddie's Coming Out ever played on that show?
Was Don't Tell Me You Love Me a hit?
No. I don't think it was.
So what are we, just like giving them any song but Sister Christian?
Well, no, their hits in my eyes are
Four in the Morning,
Sentimental Street.
All right.
Possibly Goodbye. I don't know where it charted.
So you're thinking a casual fan knows 4 in the Morning over Don't Tell Me You Love Me.
Yeah, because it got a ton of radio play.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
1985,
video play,
but 1986 on, I think Don't Tell Me You Love Me is blowing 4 in the Morning out.
Just say someone from back in the 80s who had the first 3 albums.
Thank you.
Would know.
Good night.
All right. Eddie's Coming Out Tonight. Brent, what you got number 2?
Halfway to the Sun.
Piss on me. That's what my number 1 was. I hate when I line up with Brent.
It's not in any order. It's just
neither is mine. Just of all tracks I put at number 1. I just basically skipped the first 4 albums. Most people would have those. And
I didn't skip the first 4 albums.
Yeah, I didn't either, because I was like, again, I know plenty of people when I say Night Ranger, they say Sister Christian and kind of stop there.
So Andy, is Sing Me Away number 2?
No, Comfort Me.
Yeah. You went there, huh?
Because
Good
it's
job.
a great song, and I know no one's ever going to hear it. Sad, they should. So I would hope that they would listen to that song because it's a great song and modern era too. It's fantastic. Brent, what do you got?
Call My Name, number 2.
Great song, love it.
But it was on their VHS live concert.
Oh, then it doesn't count.
No, Call My Name.
I just think we got different views of what a casual fan is. I mean, you guys are basically making a CD tape for someone who's only heard Sister Christian.
That's basically what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It was 10 songs you give to someone that you know about who Night Ranger is that they haven't heard.
Yeah. All right.
And Call My Name. I mean, unless you went to a concert, you're not hearing that song. And God.
Yeah.
Recently, the only time you're going to hear that song is on Madonna Madness tour. I mean, it's very little they ever play that song.
There you go.
My track 2 is Reason to Be.
Good tune. I got no complaints with that. Let's see here. My number 3, I would go with number 3, Don't Start Thinking I'm Alone Tonight. Possibly my favorite Night Ranger song of all time, and I would force people to listen to it, and I think more people should listen to it. Even today, still a great song.
Yeah. Yeah, every one of these songs represent what Night Ranger is to me.
Yeah. So, Brent, you have on your track 3. Not your number 3, but just track 3.
Eddie's coming out tonight. No, I'm joking.
Good call.
No. Andy, it's one of your favorite songs of mine, but not one of Josh's. This will not appear on Josh's list because Josh has no color in his smile.
There you go. Yeah, great song.
Oh, there's some color in his smirk, though.
Mine is the same as Andy's. Track 3 is Don't Start Thinking I'm Alone Tonight.
Awesome. So then I'm going to have to go with my 4. Reverts back to you guys with Halfway to the Sun.
Ooh, good job. So we've all got, put a star next to that.
Yeah, it's just such a great song. It's and I think someone who only thinks of Night Ranger as a ballad band, that's going to definitely change their opinion. Because it just rocks from the minute it starts. And it's just great lyrics, great song. Moving on. That's what I think.
Pretty good.
Brent, do you have a 4?
Yeah, the 4. The stars are going to align again. Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Don't Start Thinking.
Yeah.
I'm alone tonight. So, we all 3 of us have 2 songs we all agree upon so far.
Josh's disappointment is just showing so well.
The smirk of Josh. That's what I'm calling this episode.
My track 4 is Last Chance.
Oh, yeah.
I knew he'd go Mojo. I knew it.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah. I didn't know we were picking songs off their most popular records.
No. Man. Look at it. Andy. Oh, by the way, in Suicide Squad last night, I laughed out loud because somebody told somebody to go eat a bag of dicks. And that's what Andy's little catchphrase is.
That's
and I heard it, I'm like, are you kidding me? I've never heard anybody say that other than you.
That's pretty good.
So, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie.
All right. Number 5 for me, I would give them Passion Play.
Ooh. I thought about that or Chipping Away.
Yeah, I just love the song Passion Play. And I just think, it's a great song.
Over Touch of Madness?
I mean...
Over Rumors in the Air?
Yeah, I struggled with it, but I was trying to find something like...
He realized that was on their greatest hits.
Touch of Madness wasn't.
Rumors in the Air.
I just kind of went back and forth a little bit, and I was in a passion. I said, this list could change in a minute. But I was in a passion play kind of mood. I listened to it yesterday, so it's kind of like, I like that song. So,
well, when I came up with this, the reason I went back older as well, because I wanted to show that the band, whether it was 35 years ago or today, it still sounds great together. That's how I compiled my list. So I went with something more current. Follow Your Heart off of Somewhere in California.
Wow, nice.
I think that's a great song, and it screams Night Ranger.
Nice.
The dual leads at the end, and the genius of Jack Blades. It's fantastic. So Follow Your Heart.
There you go. Josh, you have a 5?
My 5 is Walk in the Future.
Well done, sir. Because my 6 is Walk in the Future. So, yeah, that's just a great song, man. And, I was listening to that this morning while I was sitting there doing some notes, and I was like, that song really, people need to hear that song. So, I will concur with Josh on that one, but that was my number 6 on the tracks, the track listing. Brent, 6-wise for you?
Usually if you get 3 stars on a review, that's a pretty decent review. And we just got our 3rd star with Walk in the Future.
So
Walk
there.
in the Future, chosen by all 3 of us.
That should have been a hit. I think you
Fantastic.
guys did it. You did an episode like that, didn't you?
What should have been a hit? Yeah.
Josh, do you have a 6?
My 6 is Crazy World.
Oh, wow.
Good one.
Nice.
I could have went with probably a few songs off of 7, but
did you try to hit one from each album?
Just going
type
off kind of Man in Motion.
Because I didn't, but I kind of wish I'd.
Well, like I said, I just figured if you're a casual Night Ranger fan, you probably had the first 3 records. You may have had Big Life just because the momentum going into Big Life. So I just basically said most of your Night Ranger fans who know Night Ranger, most of them kind of dropped off at Man in Motion. So I just went Man in Motion on. So I just kind of Man in Motion. I put 3 tracks off that, but after that, I tried to just hit kind of like 1 track off of each album just to show a progression of where they went. But you could really show that progression any way you want. I could have put Forever All Over Again on there, or Neverland, and so Walk in the Future, Crazy World. It's kind of like right in the middle, just what Night Ranger's known for. So
yeah. So number 7 for me, I put Bye Bye Baby Not Tonight. It's one of them songs I've always loved, and it hit me right. That could have been No Time to Lose Ya. It's a great song, but I chose Bye Bye Baby Not Tonight. Great song. People should know it. Even casual fans should know it, but the uncasual fans should definitely know it. Brentry?
I know it.
I know you do.
Okay, I went with the next album.
Okay.
Off High Road, St. Bartholomew.
Look at you.
Love that tune. It shows, like Josh says, the heavy side of Night Ranger, but yet still keeping it in the pocket. It's just fantastic.
The worst thing about that song is the song title. It's just I don't care, but it's just like, you say that and it's just like, what? It's about a monk. What?
Yeah.
So
interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good song.
All right, Josh, do you have a 7?
My 7, I just listened to this record today, just to get another feel for it. It's still got a lot of criticisms to it, but this track stands out. It's a really good track. It's unfortunate it gets lost with some of the other stuff around it, but my track is Hole in the Sun.
Yeah. That's one. That's an album. Admittedly, I never gave much time to. I need to go back and spend some time in that world.
It's better than what you guys think it is, I think.
It's not bad. It's just, I like, Drama Queen, and what was the other Brad song on there? White Knuckle Ride.
That's a good tune.
There Is Life. Is that the ballad on there?
I'm pulling it up right now.
That's good. I don't even mind Wrap It Up, but there's, I love the opening of Tell Your Vision. It's just, when you get to the chorus, that's all I can hear is television, and I don't really get into You're Going to Hear From Me. That song does nothing for me. I like Whatever Happened. I just don't know if I just don't know if I like it as a Night Ranger track. I don't know. It's just a little bit too much pop, I guess. It's catchy, but maybe just a little bit too much bubblegum. I don't know. But
Rockstar's not bad.
Rockstar was the one I was thinking of. So yeah, there's but yeah. Rockstar, Drama Queen, White Knuckle Ride are real heavy, but they're not like, I wouldn't say they have that Night Ranger sound. They're just like a heavy song, which I like, but I also need a little bit of Night Ranger in there. So when you got 3 of them like that, it kind of, it's like either it's, I don't know, it just doesn't, they're good, some good stuff, just doesn't have that Night Ranger feel. but listen to that stuff and then put in Hole in the Sun, and it's like, there's Night Ranger. That's the Night Ranger I remember. And
then put in what? You said listen to that stuff, then put in Hole in the Sun.
Well, just put in the Hole in the Sun, the song.
The song.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm sorry.
The song. It's just you hear the rock, but you hear that Night Ranger sound. Where Drama Queen and some of those songs just don't have that Night Ranger sound to it, to where they eventually get back, in the upcoming records. So that's my number whatever, Hole in the Sun.
Yeah, Fool and Me almost made my list off that album because it's a great Kelly song. But that album's really good when you do a random thing. It mixes in well with some of the other tracks. I think the problem when that album came out, I think just nobody was. I don't know. I
think too, you'd waited 10 years to hear a new Night Ranger record, and it's not a new Night Ranger record. It just didn't sound like Night Ranger. You can get that's the same argument some people have with ATBPO. The thing is, you can get away with it a little bit more because we've got so many previous records that have that Night Ranger sound that are so good. Mm-hmm. It's just when you haven't released anything in 10 years and you put that out, the expectation's so high that when you get it, I remember. I mean, I forced myself to all right, I really want to listen to this. I really want to like it, and not that it was bad. Just
struggled.
Yeah,
it was just. But what were we listening to at that time when it came out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I have to go back and look.
I mean, that right around that time, you did have a rock resurgence. You had Nickelback was big, Hinder was coming on the scene. They were big. 3 Days Grace. I mean, there was a lot of new rock music, and could that influence Night Ranger? I don't know if they're listening to that and going, "Hey, we need to incorporate that." I just think, what, they hadn't been in the studio for 10 years. They probably forgot, how to be Night Ranger. Who knows? I don't know.
Could be,
yeah. So they even Jack talks about somewhere in California kind of being a resurgence and getting that Night Ranger sound. So, and obviously there's issues going on there with Jeff. I mean, so, there's that dynamic. You don't have Fitz. We know how big of a sound Fitz is. And you got Michael Lardy stepping in the spot. How much is he involved or not involved? So, it's just, there's a lot going on. But anyways, Hole in the Sun is whatever number we're at.
7. All right. So for me, number 8, I go with Tomorrow off the newest album because it's just, I can't get it out of my head. And that's a song, again, sadly, most of society will never hear, and they should.
It's funny. We were talking about that. We did a little chat last weekend about ATBPO, me and a few people, and we were talking about how there's no song on that album that is like the Don't Let Up of the album. Mm-hmm. Well, after going back, I'm thinking, Tomorrow's the perfect pop tune on that song, on that album. I mean, so well done, Mr. Parquet.
Okay.
I like that.
Brent, you have a number 8.
Speaking of the album Don't Let Up,
my
number 8 is Don't Let Up.
Nice.
Quintessential, perfect tune, period, by this band.
Nice.
Perfect song.
Yes, I can't disagree with you. Josh, if you had a number 8, what would it be?
Growing up in California, just bring, kind of give someone a little lesson where Night Ranger was going, and here you go. This is what kind of kicked it back in the gear.
It's a fun song too.
Mm-hmm.
Great song. Love that song.
They're going to go, wow, this should have been on the greatest hits with Eddie's Coming Out Tonight.
Maybe it will when it gets reissued, and they'll add one song to it. My number 9.
Number 9.
I agree with Brent. Don't Let Up.
Ooh.
Great song. Just a great song. I love it. I didn't want to jump on when you brought it up, so cannot disagree. Again, all these songs, I just wish people could hear them. wish more people could hear these songs. Brent, do you have a number 9?
Oh, I have a number 9. Josh, you want to guess what it is?
Am I supposed to be paying attention to Brent?
Yeah, you really are. I haven't pissed you off. I haven't pissed you off with my list yet. Really
yet. Give it time.
Your number 9 is probably something like.
Give me credit. Come on.
The title track, Night Ranger, from Dawn Patrol.
You're such a douchebag. That ain't it. This would be one that you would be like.
When you close your eyes, because it wasn't in top 10. Dick Clark didn't put it on his top 40 80s hits, so it's not a hit. What?
That wasn't me.
It doesn't matter. You're still getting the shit.
That was the other guy. Well, you know what?
This is why we need to have pre-production meetings.
What we got?
If you would have had a revelation, you would have realized it was a revelation.
Revelation 4 a.m. off of
no,
Hole in
not
the Sun.
4 a.m.
That's a
Revelation off 7. One of the all-time greatest Kelly Keagy tunes ever.
Yep, and and we just not too long ago informed Kelly Keagy that there was a song called Revelation.
Yeah.
All right.
The greatest thing is when you say, "What does California splits in 2s and 3s mean?" I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
fair.
We were probably just humming it, and then that sounds good. Write it down. Yeah, I thought there was so much more deep thought in that than what there was. So.
People probably think the same thing about our podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
It's just like writing a Night Ranger tune.
It filled a slot.
Josh?
All right, Josh, 9.
My number 9 is High Road.
Good song. Can't disagree. I like them all, so I can't disagree. So.
Just, has that Night Ranger sound, a little bit of sing-along to it. So, there you go.
All right. So the last track on my little CD that I'm going to hand out to somebody would be Sign of the Times. Just love the way it just rocks along, and I think it shows a lot of, again, it shows Night Ranger rocking. I know they were kind of got the ballad band moniker, but they do rock, and I think people need to see that. And I think if I was suggesting something to somebody, I'd be like, don't give it a try. You might be surprised how good they can sound and they can rock. So, Sign of the Times.
Sign of Tomorrow.
Brentry?
My number 10, maybe my new favorite song off ATBPO, a song I cannot stop going back and forth to, a song I've made calls to Josh at 8:30 in the morning while I'm at work.
Yeah, I suddenly don't like this song anymore now.
And I'm like, Josh, this song just kicks serious ass, and that would be Savior.
Oh, cool.
I cannot.
I thought you were going to go Coldest December.
Good time.
I love
told
Coldest
you guys.
December.
Go back, listen
Savior,
to previous episodes.
I just keep coming back to it, and I can't get it out of my head with the drum beat and the little, it's just a perfect tune. Yeah. Kelly sounds awesome on that song.
Like I said,
I finished strong with Kelly.
Going back to listen to that record, and you just listen to a couple tracks. That track just always kept being one of the ones I went to. I ended with ATBPO as well, and it is Dance.
Yeah. I struggled. I wanted Dance on my list bad, but I was like,
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have put a fucking hit on there.
It wasn't a hit. It's a fan favorite. It's what it is.
Well, the record should have been called Night Ranger Fan Favorites and not Greatest Hits.
It happens. I mean, my God, I think even...
It was on Greatest Hits Live. My Elusive Mind is a hit. It was on Greatest Hits Live.
Actually, no, it wasn't. Something there to remind me?
It wasn't the first one CD.
Naked Eyes?
Yeah, I don't care.
Naked Eyes has 2 hits.
Let's fucking wrap it up. I'm tired of this conversation.
So my CD, Halfway to the Sun, Reason to Be, Don't Start Thinking I'm Alone Tonight, Last Chance, Walk in the Future, Crazy World, Hole in the Sun, Grown Up in California, High Road, and Dance. And of course, I'm speaking to the Night Ranger attorney. We would never illegally burn these records and give them out to anyone. This is all allegedly and all in a hypothetical fantasy world.
There you go.
There you go.
Andy, what are your top 10?
I don't know. I threw my list on the floor, so I can't get to it.
It is You Still Rockin' America, Sing Me Away, Secret of My Success, When You Close Your Eyes, Sister Christian.
Now here's the songs I had. Here's the songs I had written down last night until this morning when you guys were saying they couldn't be hits. I had Don't Tell Me You Love Me. I had Sing Me Away. I had 4 in the Morning. I had When You Close Your Eyes, and I had Rumors in the Air.
Sounds like you picked a set list.
Well, but those were. If someone, I thought it was someone
Coming of Age, High Enough, Ozzy.
I initially thought the topic was going to be someone that's never heard of Night Ranger, really new Night Ranger. What songs would you give them? So that's what I was going to go with.
The good thing is we really never have to deal with this in real life, because if they've never heard of Night Ranger, we're not even associating with them right away. And then if they don't know that Night Ranger's a cool ass band, are we really like talking to these people?
You know what?
I'm only friends with.
Got to go back to the beginning, the genesis of this page. How many people went back and bought those records just because they started listening to the podcast and never had them?
I'm only friends with people who have the same mindset as me, which is there should be Night Ranger action figures. If you don't think there should be Night Ranger action figures, you don't think there should be, then get the hell out of here. Like, I want the Midnight Madness, and then you get the Air one. Like, that one doesn't have, Jack Blades doesn't have the Night Ranger necklace in that one. That one's the Air. That one's worth more. So there you
the variants.
Yeah. So there you go. Our non-hit Night Ranger, introducing them to the world beyond Sister Christian and the other hits that weren't hits. So did you guys come up with any what ifs, or was that just a solo thing for me?
I didn't. I told you before I didn't have any thoughts on it.
This is going to be feeding off the Weaver. Yeah. That's what we're going to call this segment.
What if my shoulders hurt from carrying these motherfuckers?
Hey, I got home. I told you after midnight and saw your topic.
You were fucking on top of a parking garage sniffing Skyline.
With my family.
All right, I don't have them in any particular order. This is just my scratch sheet. I had laying there that I'd write stuff down. All right, so what's your thoughts on this? What if Big Life was a hit? What that record took off, just like Seven Wishes did, 3 top 40 singles. What would have changed, or what may not have changed afterwards? So if Big Life was a hit,
I don't know. I don't know. My definition of hit and yours is completely different.
So here we go.
Maybe it was a hit.
Yeah.
Look what you set up, Josh.
Well,
I mean,
there was one hit on the record because it was on the greatest hits. But let's say "Secret of My Success," "Color Your Smile," and "Hearts Away" basically did just as good as "4 in the Morning," "Goodbye," and "Sentimental Street." So you had it kept pushing. It kept going. What do you think that would have changed?
I think, one, the band was already tired at that point. How much more exhausted would they have been from touring and then having to get back into the studio to recreate that? Because now, are they going to write Man in Motion the way Man in Motion is? With the heavier tunes, without as much ballads. Is that going to be still the same thing? And are we going to get replacement members in the band? Because I think some people would have checked out still because they were just burnt out. That band was burnt out at that time.
I would say going into the recording of that record, this was probably the least burnt out they were, just for the fact that this is the most they had really time to record a record.
Yeah.
I think you would really have seen if this record had really taken off, and let's say with this taken off, the next record, Man in Motion or whatever it would have been, it would have still had some hype, even if it wouldn't have died. Just like Big Life lives off the hype of Seven Wishes, because it was so big. That's where Big Life got a push from. So the next record would get a push, and it would get a bigger push because now they've got 4 hit records instead of 3. I think you would see Night Ranger almost in the realm, right in the realm of like a Foreigner. Where now you have not just a, because Night Ranger can pretty much fill up a set with their hits, right? I think you could almost do it, with Foreigner, man, you could just leave stuff out and put stuff in and it just goes in. I think Night Ranger with one more hit record or another hit record and a half moves them to that next echelon of Foreigner, Whitesnake, those middle bands, and it's just they didn't get it. They fell just a tad bit short. Now they got more than some of these other bands. They're not LA Guns, they're not Y&T and stuff. So I mean, they having that that's why I always say Seven Wishes is an important album, because it makes them not a one-hit wonder with Sister Christian, and it pushes them. So I think if Big Life had been a hit, it pushes today. It impacts them more today, really, than anything.
I have a question. How many? Go ahead. How many?
No, go ahead.
You brought up Whitesnake, and it's fascinating because is Whitesnake considered a bigger band than Night Ranger? They technically are, aren't they?
They are.
But why?
Well, not that if you just count, hit versus hit, probably Night Ranger's close, but Whitesnake was just so huge. I mean,
yeah, I guess.
I mean,
that's what I was just trying to think. When you said that, I was like, why is Whitesnake considered the bigger draw?
Well, think about
Whitesnake had one record.
Well, that's what I was going to say. In all honesty,
one record.
I mean, we're not huge fans, but my point is one album that blew them up.
In the hard rock world, they had more than one record.
No, yes,
and I'm not knocking Whitesnake.
But one popular mass album that everybody knew was
here's the thing. Their videos are iconic. Yeah. Number one. I mean, Tawny Contain on the fucking car. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows Here I Go Again. Just like Sister Christian, but Here I Go Again is just a little bit cooler song that people get into. Not saying I think it's cooler, but it's rocking. Here I Go Again on my own. You still got songs like Still of the Night.
Same album.
And yeah, just
like I said, I like White. I have no beef with it. I'm just curious, were they always considered to be a bigger draw?
Yeah, I think totally Night Ranger's got more hits in America than they do.
Well,
in America.
Well, yeah, but I mean, listen.
Just interesting.
Just if you take Sister Christian and you take Here I Go Again on my own, majority people, everybody knows both, but let's just say they cancel each other out. And Still the Night, Don't Tell Me You Love Me, maybe.
Or Rockin' America.
Well, I don't think a lot of people. I'm talking about just general people today. Don't know Rockin' America. I mean, we do. We grew up with it, but it's not like it's being played on the radio a lot. You still hear Still the Night. Here I Go Again on my own. What's the other big song that came off the?
Is This Love?
Is This Love? But there was another rock song too. Not a ballad. I guess it shows
Bad Boys.
No, but I mean, you still.
Well, if you go deeper in their catalog, you had Slide It In.
Yeah, you saw Slide It In. You had Slow and Easy.
But before that, there was nothing in the States that was.
Like I said, I'm not trying to knock it down. I was just curious because I guarantee you, if you saw a bill that's going to be Night Ranger and Whitesnake, Whitesnake would be the headliner.
Here's the thing.
And they shouldn't be.
Here's the thing. If you put iconic images up of 80s rock music, you're going to see.
It's Katane on the two Jaguars.
And you're going to see David Coverdale. I mean, he just himself was iconic. And, David Coverdale's got the Deep Purple. If you go into the hard rock world, David Coverdale's got that Deep Purple connection. I mean, I love those Deep Purple records that he's on. All three of them. They're just, that's the reason why he's in Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Deep Purple. So, but yes, I think they would be on that level. They would be on a Foreigner level with another hit.
All right.
So another what if. What if Sister Christian was not a hit?
Oh, man.
Well, they wouldn't have instantly went to headline status touring because they basically went from being an opener to a headliner with that song.
If that song doesn't explode, my opinion is Night Ranger is never as big. as they are.
I don't think they're not. They're not. Do you think Seven Wishes takes off like it does? Do you think those?
Doesn't.
But do you think those songs can stand on their own? You know, like, oh, okay, here's 4 in the morning. Here's Goodbye. I mean, you got to think Goodbye's a top 10 hit 2 years later down the road.
What I want to think is they were a hardworking band. They were making audiences notice who they were. They were opening for some good big bands. I think they would eventually have broke, but I don't think they would have broke as big as they did.
Yeah, I don't think I look at it in terms of today. They would be more of a Y&T type band playing smaller places just because. I mean, what really keeps Night Ranger in the limelight today? Sister Christian. In the hard rock world, maybe Don't Tell Me You Love Me a little bit, but it's Sister Christian. And I
mean, you as much as I want to believe that Sentimental Street could have been a hit on its own, it wasn't that big of a hit following a huge hit, was it?
It was. Yeah. Well, Sentimental Street was a top 10 hit.
Okay, yeah. So does it make top 10 if it's not coming off the heels of Sister Christian? I don't know. I think it's a great song, but we're so biased because we're Night Ranger homers.
It all depends on what MTV is showing you too.
Yep. So
I mean, the Seven Wishes videos were kind of fun. I don't know. Sister Christian is the catalyst.
Here's the thing too. You got to think about is if Sister Christian bombs, are they given any time to When You Close Your Eyes? And then probably not as much at least. And then so that doesn't take off because you don't have behind Sister Christian. What are they giving you with Seven Wishes?
Not much.
I think you know as much shit as people give Sister Christian, you got to realize that set up, you know, the rest of, you know, the tracks off of Midnight Madness. That was the catalyst that put them in and Seven
place.
Wishes.
And to go back to your first what if, these are kind of parallel because of the key factor in this is MTV. Because once MTV kind of got tired of certain bands, I mean, 1987 was, I mean, you got to look at Loverboy had Loving Every Minute of It. That album had so many, they had at least 4 hits on that album that were radio and video hits. And then to turn around with Notorious come out, it got nothing. All these bands that they overplayed in the 80s, like Night Ranger, just got no notice whatsoever.
Well, you know, an image comes into play too. I mean, that's another thing. Is 87's a big year for White Snake and Guns N' Roses, and you start getting a little bit
that sleaze rock scene's coming on,
and you know, just Night Ranger and some of these bands were more like Dinosaurs. Hold
on real quick, because I was gonna say, using your what if scenario is so these albums all are bigger. Do we at this time push grunge off a little further back? Because grunge is coming around in 1990, 89, 90. But if
I mean, that's the thing with what if scenarios, you can just
still
keep
happening.
On.
And I'm not anti-grunge. I'm just saying, but do we push that back, or does that still rise up? If Night Ranger has huge hits with Big Life and then Man in Motion, does it just?
Well, you got to remember. Big Life is 5 years.
What if Mother
before...
Love Bone would have broke and Andrew Wood never would have died? Then you wouldn't have had no Pearl Jam.
Dude, I've got a whole paper written about. That's another whole subject.
And they weren't grunge. They were rock. You know.
All right, Josh. I can go off on that for a long time, and I don't have the time today.
What if Jeff and Fitz never left the band in 2004 and 2007? Left, fired, whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. Just what if Jeff and Fitz had never left and were still in the band today? What do you think would or would not be different?
Wow.
Well, I would tell you I don't think you see much difference, especially touring-wise. There's no one not going to Night Ranger shows because Fitz and Jeff are not in the band. It's just like people say if they got them back, they're not moving to bigger venues. You know, there's 5 people out there maybe per show, if that, who aren't going to the show because Jeff and Fitz aren't in the band.
Well, that would even know.
Yep. So I don't think it impacts anything touring wise. I guess it would impact. What would it impact? Recording,
songs,
and what would it impact chemistry wise?
It really depends on how they're going to grow as musicians. You know, do they? I mean, in my opinion, after For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge came out, Eddie Van Halen was done. It was like balance. It was just like regurgitating the same thing over and over again. Would those guys have done that? You know, who knows? I don't know. I mean, you can't. You can't.
I don't know. I don't have any.
You can't dust for vomit. No, you really can't. I mean, it's too hard to tell what if these guys would have grown with the other three guys, or would the other three guys
We're just talking about 2007 on. I think I would have loved to, seen Fitz in his, because here's the thing. With them being original members, they can throw a little bit more weight out there, which can be a good or a bad thing. It would be cool to see what Fitz would have came up with some of those songs. I mean, I think Eric compliments him well, but it would have been cool to see what Fitz would have added to the songwriting part of it. And it would have been also great to see, what Jeff would have been contributing as well, especially on the acoustic record. And some of those great Night Ranger ballads are on some of those records. But I think what you get into is the chemistry, maybe not so much with Fitz, but there's a reason kind of why Hole in the Sun has its issues as well. And, so I think chemistry-wise, maybe it's still, it's probably wouldn't have happened just like it didn't happen. But I don't think you would see much difference. I don't,
Yeah, I mean that sucks. I'm kind of like I look dumbfounded. I'm trying to fathom what would be different, and I don't have a real solid.
I mean, what was great was knowing when they were gone, and then they came back together and recorded Neverland and Seven. It was fantastic stuff.
I mean,
the magic was still there.
So I'll say this, and this will come off. And I don't know how to make this not sound flippant, so to speak. But if someone had handed you Don't Let Up, and you didn't know Fitz and Jeff weren't in the band, could you tell? I don't think so, because the replacements that they got are fucking good.
Well,
See what I'm saying? And so this to me, coming from I would say it would get down to the songwriting skills. You'd have to know what Jeff and Fitz contributed in the past to then say, all right, yeah, I can tell the difference here that Jeff Watson isn't playing guitar. But I couldn't tell you. I think Joel, of course, did a great job.
And the mid-'90s
stepping into those shoes.
The mid-'90s,
Gary, he's fantastic.
Was the end of people really caring who's in the band.
I think you're right. Sadly, but I think you're right.
Back when magazines and stuff, it's just now. I mean, now especially, it doesn't matter really who's in the band. So, back then, all original members reunion and, the new records. But, yeah.
I mean, I think the question lends to a reverse situation is, do you think anybody, the current members could have written, could Eric have written the piano part for Sister Christian? Would we have had that? Because they're both talented musicians, but Fitz wrote that?
Well,
you get Let 'Em Run or Goodbye?
I think
you
could get Sister Christian. What it would be interesting, because you got to remember Eric's influenced by these guys, right? But Fitz is like originating it, so you would get into the question of how good of an originator is Eric. If you were time traveling and putting him back in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But, but then again, you're talking Eric's in 1980. Well, then his influence would be, people from the 60s and 70s. And then he would be not really.
Even farther beyond that, with his classical training.
Well, what I'm saying, though, is just like Fitz, yes, he's the originator on these Night Ranger records, but he had his influences from back then. So, yeah, it would be interesting.
It was a time period they were in too.
Yeah.
What else was going on at that time period?
So
I don't know. These things always they mess with my head when you start running. I get lost in my thoughts or thinking, well, what if this happened? Then this happens, and this guy's not there. Then do you actually get?
And I kind of answered my own question with this, but my next one was, what changes if Fitz and Jeff come back? And again, I don't think live-wise, nothing. They're not going to bigger venues.
No, I don't think so. I think you're right.
I think the hardcore fans are happy, but 90% of the people there,
wouldn't probably know or care. Sadly.
What changes is that Jeff Watson's never going to play a Kerry Kelly lick that Kerry played on an album. Jeff Watson's going to play a Jeff Watson part where Kerry Kelly's going to play a Jeff Watson part off of
Jeff, but Kerry Kelly for the longest time didn't play Jeff Watson parts like he did because he didn't do the 8-finger thing. It took.
No, he still does it with one.
Well, but but he does it closer now than.
Oh yeah, he could, but it sounds good.
So, so what if Night Ranger hadn't waited a decade in between albums from 7 to Hole in the Sun? So what if they had basically released out kind of like the decade we had last decade with Somewhere in California, High Road, Don't Let Up? What if we had that decade previous? What if this decade that they've taken off and taken everything serious, to me, taking it more serious, what if that had been the decade previous? I mean,
well, what was the reason they took time off?
Not really they took time off. You got to remember there's solo records Kelly had 2 solo records, Brad had Alligator.
Because the question to me, I think, is were they burned out?
Well,
so if they stayed together,
they were only getting Chili Fest and stuff like that to go play.
Right, but I'm saying if they stay together and they're kind of burned out with each other, they realize their sound. Would they have just kind of put out mediocre product?
Well,
not a lot of. Would they have done that?
Do you consider Neverland and 7 recorded basically within a 2-year span? Do you consider that mediocre?
I don't. No.
So you would think. Now you got to remember in 99-2000, Jack's doing the Damn Yankees record that turned into garbage. That's them talking, not me.
Yeah.
And so it's like I always wondered, okay, does that just fuck with your psyche? So I'm like, shit, we can't write a record that we like now.
I think it goes back to what Andy's saying too, as far as their state of mind is what he's talking about. Am I right, Andy?
It's not like
because if you get, if we look at Hole in the Sun, and generally considered not a great album. We all, I think, can come to that consensus. Do we get more of that leading up to Hole in the Sun? If the break is 10 years there, that's what I'm saying is, are they just kind of, sometimes you need that break to come back fresh. So I don't know. I don't know.
Well, they had that break. Did they come back fresh with Hole in the Sun?
That's the thing.
See what I'm saying? So I think a lot of it's mentally in your head, and we don't know what's going on. But it would have been nice if 2011, growing up in California, was 2001, and then we had High Road in 2004, and we had Don't Let Up in 2007. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a lost decade.
Just continuous, yeah.
Yeah, and so my last one would be now. If I remember correctly, I think this is how it went, but I'd have to go back and look again. But what if Greg Eckler had never called Jack to come and audition for Rubicon? Now, I think maybe it was Greg that brought Jack to Slide in the Family Stone, and that's how that maybe got. So it may not be Rubicon. But what if, I think that's how it went was, Greg had, at that point, maybe Slide in the Family Stone morphing into the Rubicon had said, hey, I know a guy in California, Southern California or whatever, and he plays bass, because Greg pulling Jack up there is how they got Brad, and how Kelly got into the picture. I'm not saying, I mean, I'm sure Jack would have been fine and made it some other way, but if Greg had never called him and pulled him up there, there would have been no meeting of Brad and Kelly at that time.
I think that's the right scenario. So the thing is, that's the key thing there is if Jack, so essentially Jack and Brad meet in Rubicon.
Yep.
If this meeting never happens, do we ever get Night Ranger? And the answer is probably no.
Then Kelly forms at the end, comes in at the end. And
Jack and Brad.
But Jack was living with Fitz.
Well, Jack is living with Fitz. Fitz is living with Jack.
Well,
this is later on. This is in 79, 80.
What I'm saying is,
So,
do we ever know the names Brad Gillis and Jack Blades? Probably.
Well, my point is
Night Ranger. Does Brad stay with Ozzy?
Jack knew Fitz before, and they weren't in a band together. Fitz knew Jeff Watson. A lot of those Bay Area musicians knew each other. So,
you know what would have happened? Jack would have completed med school. He would have found the cure for cancer, and he would be a world-renowned doctor and
with a haircut like mine,
Then he would have sued Rick Fox for the name Surgical Steel and formed a band.
All right, so that's enough what ifs. There we go. So Andy, wrap us up.
Well, that was a fun episode to a degree. I mean, you could show. We need more show prep sometimes. It's a little rough. I'm on a tight schedule, so I put us in a little bit of a bind. But anyway, thank you. If you're still watching, thank you endlessly for being part of the Fans in Motion movement. If you haven't already, please click subscribe, like us on all the favorite places you go to: YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, Podcast. I've messed that one up completely. Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Pandora. And, again, we always ask you to please tell a friend, tell somebody, get one more person on the page and get one more person watching the show or listening to the show and leave us some reviews. I mean, we think we're doing a great job. Maybe we're not. Somebody's got to tell us something.
Yeah, you guys are going to see me commenting on there. These people suck.
J. ... So, anyway, thank you again. If you're still watching, we do appreciate it. We are still having fun. Sometimes the shows are a little off the rails, but it's fun, and we do it. And stay tuned.
Brent?
Josh, anything? Brent?
I got nothing. It was just nice seeing Josh's energies switch to you.
I got nothing, which has basically been his mantra for all these 60...
We're calling this episode "Hit Me with Your Best Shot." Hit me
later.
You got to lay it on me, baby. Lay it on me, baby. Come on now.